James, yeah, and parachute out anytime you want. This has been incredible, seriously. If Val, I just gonna turn it to Val here a little bit. She's just been incredible. But anytime you want to parachute out, that's great. But if you want, before you sign off, please tell people about where they can find you and continue mission a little bit if you got that left.
Sure.
And then we'll retool our dance floor here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Set up
I don't know.
set up my governor's campaign for Alberta.
Oh, dude,
You ready?
can you imagine? It's too bad I laid off my IT kids. This might have been a good show.
We don't need it.
See what
We don't need it.
we'll
I'll just jump in the truck and drive up there. I've got a passport. I can cross the border.
I know you will. But by the way, we have a date. We have a date out here. It's going to be a dig, and it's going to be a visit with the sheriff, and blah blah blah. Okay, anyhow, that's still on. But to tell people about yourself, plug yourself here.
Sure.
I'll let Val, and I really, before you leave, I would love Val. I can't believe it, Val. I'm just been listening, and you've just been listening to this amazing stuff. And then Val, I'll turn it over to Val, literally for her quote, too bad intro, but extra with you. She's deeply passionate about this stuff. But talk a little bit about yourself again, James, and then turn it back to Val here for extra, at least there. And there you go.
So we have a radio show every Friday night. Runs from 10 to midnight. That is on Eastern Standard Time or 7 to 9 Pacific Time. It's called Continue Mission. It's on the Brain Injury Radio Network. So you go to Brain Injury Radio Network, type in Continue Mission, and you can listen to all of us. And sometimes we have Val and Greg on there as well. And it's a great show. We have a great time. We talk about some wonderful things. Father Michael Pacella is a godsend. Richard Kilblain is a historian. Who definitely knows this stuff as well. It's a great place to go. But I like to communicate on professional links. Of course, I'm on X, Twitter X, James McCormick. It's a picture of me parachuting. That is me last year. I still do those things. I believe that you never get too old for that. LinkedIn is, I'm also on LinkedIn. So if you just look up James McCormick, and I'll pull that up to make sure that you have that right connection there. I love to connect with people on LinkedIn. It's a professional network, and I enjoy it. So it's just James McCormick, and it's DD, for Doctor of Divinity, and CSP, Certified Safety Professional. I've got about 14,000 followers on there. So come on there and check me out. Also on Facebook. And you can come look me up on Facebook as well. I'm on there, and we run a few other sites as well. So just reach out and we'll we'll chat. You can also reach me at WV Purple Heart 1863. That's WV Purple Heart 1863 at gmail.com. And be looking forward to answering any of your questions. I'm actually going to speak on that experience in Iraq in June. I've been asked to come and be the keynote speaker for a conference, and it's a conference with people both of faith and science conference. So I'll be there for that. That's it.
James, you touched over just behind the scenes of your life, and I wanted to bring it back to you just kind of glanced over it, but you've spoke to presidents, you've met with key people, and yet you take the time and you invest in what's right in front of you. And I'm talking in particular to that young man that you're taking 24 hours of your time. Can't put a price tag on time, and you're working with him, you're mentoring him. You never know who listens to this show. I just wonder if you have a word for him, a message for him, because you're not so important that you don't come back to that what's right in front of you, from the home front to investing in mentoring in these kids. I recently watched videos of you just giving a word of encouragement to vets, especially on suicide. You You stop
Mhm.
what you're doing and you really you hear from God and you act. So touch on that if you can.
Sure. Sure. I would like to say that everybody has value. So my value is not any more than yours, no matter how many medals, accolades, degrees, money, whatever. That's not what makes a person. A person is made of flesh and bone and soul, living soul. And we have to take the time to invest in those living souls. This young man and many like him are desperate for leadership. They're desperate for people that will teach them the right thing. And, I can either stand back and let people teach them a wrong thing. They're walking all up and down the streets all the time. You see them peddling dope, riding up down the road, grown men on a bicycle with a backpack on, stealing catalytic converters. And all of these things, we can either watch these kids become that and then sit around as old people and gripe about it, or you get off your butt and you dedicate some time. How much sleep do you need? Okay. You don't need 12 hours of sleep every day, folks. I'm telling you, I function very well between 6 and 8 hours of sleep every day. Physically, it's okay. You need some time to decompress your brain. There's 24 hours in a day. You take 7 hours to sleep. Okay. You can take an hour to decompress your brain. You have all that additional time to dedicate, number one, to God, country, family, and then to help your fellow human. Okay. Your fellow man, woman, child, because they need it. And if I take 5 minutes or an hour or 3 hours or whatever of my time to dedicate it to that person, how valuable is that to that person? It could be life changing. That young man could leave here and become one of two things. He could become one of the greatest examples and live up to his full expectations, or he can become a loser, riding up down the street on a bicycle with a backpack, stealing and painting graffiti all over things. And I would prefer him to become a doctor, a lawyer, a construction worker, an electrician. He wants to be an electrician. I encourage that. I want him to become an electrician, a good electrician, because we need more of them. But more importantly, I want him to know that he has value, that he's more than what he did to our building. And that one day he will ultimately, and I believe he does now, feel sincerely bad about what he done. And maybe when he gets older, who knows, maybe one of my great grandkids will do that to his building and he'll remember what I did. You just never know the impact that you have on somebody. You can either impact them to be a Winston Churchill, or you can impact them to be an Adolf Hitler. And I'm telling you, that is real. That is very real. And you got to follow your heart and do the right thing. It's just the way it is. If you don't, then what are you even doing here? That gives you purpose. I watched this whole thing on longevity. People, number one, there's all these things that you hear about. Take this, take that, do exercise, lose weight, all these other things. All very important. But ultimately, the number one thing that people need in their life to continue living is purpose. You have to have a reason to wake up every day. And I can tell you that every single one of you that are out there listening today, you have a purpose. There's somebody out there that needs you. Get up, put your pants on, put your shoes on, brush your teeth, comb your hair, get out and do it. Stop sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. Let's go. We got work to do. And that's how I greet my day every day. Some days I get up, I'm sore, I'm hurting, I'm mentally exhausted, I'm sick, whatever, emotionally exhausted because you put up with all this BS, that's going on around this country, and people personally attacking you, for whatever reason. And then I have a friend that comes in yesterday, a great man of faith comes in yesterday and tells me, about a certain thing that happened in his life when he was trying to start up a ministry in a town. And There was a church in there that was close to where he was at. Didn't want him to start a church because they was afraid he was going to take some of their parishioners. Instead of accepting the fact that there's thousands of people in that town that don't go to church. I'm just worried about my own little control. And they did everything they could, and they eventually run him out. And he went up to another town, and he took that blessing to another town. He walked in here the other day, and he says, he got involved in gardening. He said, he said, my life brings me back to James McCormick, and we've known each other since probably 2008. Okay. And he says, and I noticed that my life just keeps bringing me back to you. We always come back. He said, I went through this hard time. I left, went to California. He said, then I came back. He came back, and I talked to him about farming and agriculture. He's one of the best farmers over on that side of the river. And he said, you like carrots? You like this? You like kale? Absolutely. Goes back to his house, comes back probably 35 minutes later, 3 big bags of vegetables. It's going to take me a week to eat all those vegetables, but I'm going to eat healthy. Okay. But these are the things that happens, and it's like, and he has a church over in Pomeroy, and he's like, and he said, like, I said, I want to come sit in your church. He said, no, I want you to come preach at the church. I want you to come preach a message at the church. I said, I can listen or I can talk. It doesn't matter. Because, we all have to be fed. So, but anyways, yes.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep preaching. This is what people want. This is the real meat and potatoes. These fake pop-up, show up at church, check in there, get your little gold star because you came to church today.
Yeah.
It's wearing thin. People want the real meal deal. So keep going.
Sure. Yeah. Look, if you're really going to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, you have to give time to kids like the kid that painted our building. Okay. You just got to. What did Jesus do whenever they brought the adulteress to him, and they were going to stone her? And he said, let him who hath no sin cast the first stone. That's the first thing I thought about when I saw that boy and his grandmother when she brought him in here, and was worried that I'm going to be some, evil man, that's going to try to put her grandson in jail and ruin his life. I thought, let him who hath no sin cast the first stone. That went through my head. First thing. How can I cast a stone at this boy when I've done the same kind of things? And worse. I just didn't get caught all the time. They didn't have cameras back then. Thank God. And cell phones, to capture all these things. But I say this to you all because the hypocrisy of some people is what's driving your church members away. So if you're, if you're looking to get people to come to church, and you're constantly hammering on people, look, people know your history, okay? And every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. Don't ever forget that. And it's never too late, even for those Al-Qaeda insurgents. It's never too late for them to accept Jesus Christ, ask for forgiveness, and walk away from that evil lifestyle. Same thing with all the Palestinians, all the radical Islamics that are out there. I don't think that all Muslim people are bad. I just think that fundamentally that their faith is flawed. Their faith is flawed if they believe that it's okay to destroy and kill and lie. If they believe that, then their faith is flawed. And I think that even their own Bible will tell them that. If they actually read every chapter and every verse. But we have Christians that do the same thing. They cherry pick, right? They cherry pick something that fits their, their flavor of the day, what they want to slam somebody or make fun of somebody for. Let me just get this one out there. Thou shalt not, committeth adultery. Well, it says there's a lot of things that says you shouldn't do either. Have no other gods before me. So let's think about that. Do you put something before God? Do you put money, fame, your own little personal reputation? Are you worried about what some little weasel's saying on Facebook about you more so than what God thinks about you? Those are the things that should be moving around in churches. And we need to get preachers out there that are less worried about, their lifestyle, how much money they got. And there's a lot of them out there. Some of them give us a bad name. They really do. And they need to fix themselves. They need to correct themselves. They need to get themselves right. I'm not saying that they can't have wealth. I'm not saying that they can't have a home and decency. But what I am saying is that maybe, just maybe, you're not tithing enough. If you have billions of dollars in assets, you're really tithing? Because I can tell you what $1 billion could do. I can tell you what $1 million could do for a little town in McDowell County, West Virginia. We could do a lot with that. We could help a lot of people. We could build a church. Heck, we could build an education center to try to help educate them and elevate them out of poverty. Not just give them something, not some form of socialism, but create skills and jobs. Those are all good, godly things to do, folks. And you need to find your niche. You need to do it. And you need to stop making excuses for not doing it. And I'm just about done with my voice, folks. Sorry.
Well, that was so encouraging. Find your tribe, and I'm going to put that contact info in this tweet. So those of you that are listening and want to know more about what James is talking about, this real relationship with Jesus Christ, then you can, if he preaches, I'm going to get the link. We're going to get it up on YouTube, and we're going to spread it far and wide. But Captain James, if your voice is almost gone, you just sign off whenever you need.
And James, we'll definitely do a follow-up to this amazing marathon discussion. We're going to do probably the first. It's called Greg Ad Hoc Radio Show.
All right.
Okay, where I'm thinking at least an hour. It's amazing. Val would agree with this. I got 500 questions, and also some specific questions about your war days. Just parachute out. I thank you deeply, as ever. I thank you deeply from my heart. I salute to Father Mike, to obviously Rich, to your 50,000 guys now, your Purple Hearts. I salute your 200,000 live listeners. I salute all of the organizations that you follow. You are what is called leadership. You are the poster child for manhood, and you're the poster child for fatherhood. And what's missing in today's world, that's kind of going to be the follow up. Because I chatted about this in the pre-show with Val. I've just determined that my entire life mission of my brand is fatherhood. And then we answer the fatherhood questions, the leadership questions, and the manhood questions. We fix everything, Captain. So
there you go.
Cheers to you. Salutes.
Take care, guys.
Goodbye to Captain, and I'll see you next time. Okay. Ad hoc. We'll be talking about this in the next, maybe over the weekend or something, James. So I know you'll find time in between the museum and babysitting your granddaughter and taking care of Cookie the puppy and the whole shebang. Okay. But God love you.